to Metals and Momentum. My name's Anthony, and I'm recording this on Monday at about 8:30 in the morning or so here. And I'm just seeing a number of different things in the charts, and I want to quickly go over this because myself and some of my subscribers both have inverse positions on in gold and silver, and I'll show you some of the charts that are kind of leading me to believe that this little pop in silver that we're experiencing today, along with the pop in oil, I think that silver is not going to hold up here, and I think we're on the verge of a little bit of a pullback in a number of different markets, including the S&P 500. We'll go over a few charts right now. Let's start with the S&P 500 because I think this is the main thing that's going to drive most markets down right now. So we've had an incredible rally on the S&P 500, and I could even throw up a little price range here from the peak to the trough. This is a 17% rally in the S&P 500. I think a lot of people are following that. So not really needing to say much there. The rally has been pretty ridiculous. And this generally happens near the end of bull markets, not during the beginning of one, which is really interesting. What you can see here on the S&P 500 is you have this upward sloping red line right here. And this is acting as a little bit of a resistance point here. We've tried to break through it here, and now we are trying to break through it here. This is telling me, and if I were to stretch this all the way back here, you'd actually see that there's a pretty long-term trend line that retouches the point back in March of 2020. So very interesting and very crucial support line on the S&P 500. So I'm going to be following this very, very closely. I'm essentially saying that, the market is ready to pull back. Like if we rally any bit more, then this is just going to be like the most record-breaking rally that we've ever seen in our entire lives. And what is the chances of the S&P 500 just continuing just to slam higher from here? I think that's pretty low. In fact, a lot of the charts that we're going to look at are setting up to that would tell us that this S&P 500 rally is actually going to pull back closer to 7,000, and that is my first price target to the downside here. So I think actually this is going to turn back around, and when the S&P 500 is turning around and going lower, we saw a number of different assets. Gold, silver, Bitcoin got hit last little move to the downside in the S&P 500 as well. You're going to see a number of different assets move lower alongside the S&P 500. And think about it like a tidal wave, right? Like when the tide is going out, most stocks are also going out alongside with that tide as well. So the S&P 500 right now is the tide. And if this does pull back to 7,000, then I think a lot of other things are going to get hit as well. So why would the S&P 500 pull back? We've seen this inverse relationship between the S&P 500 and the price of WTI. Essentially, anytime the price of WTI is rising, then we were getting a decline in the S&P 500. When it was coming down, like in this channel right here, we were getting that big rally in the S&P 500. What is the chart telling us right now? Well, actually, we're at a pretty key support line on the price of WTI. This 94.65 price point, this is acting as a little bit of support. And I was seeing these long wicks happen last week. And I was saying to myself, this is a rejection of lower prices. And this is actually happening overnight / early morning in these candles here. And then you got a return back to a higher price point on WTI. This is oil over that $94 kind of price point here. We even retested it right on Friday where we tried to get a little bit lower. And then again, that rejection and then closing right above 94.65 there. So key support 94.65. That's the level I'm watching right now. But this candle that is this green candle right here, this is a reversal signal. And one of the things that I was thinking about is like, why is oil looking like it's about to reverse. And if I were to draw like a little projection here, what I could see is a move back up to 105. And if oil just starts to move higher, especially higher dramatically, like we're getting a 3% rise in WTI right now, then what I could see is that the S&P 500 begins its reversal process. And one of the things that is so interesting is it's happening right at a point of resistance. So very, very important. Watch that WTI price. If oil starts to creep back up, we're going to see a decline in the S&P 500. We're already so overbought on the S&P 500, then it's likely about to happen like this week. We're going to see that. If the price of Bitcoin is down on Sunday night, then there's a good chance that the S&P 500 is also heading lower as well. Bitcoin's actually running into that 200-day moving average. And on top of that, we're at the very peak of this little channel here that has been floating in for quite some time. There's going to be a little bit of support somewhere around our orange kind of line right here. I've drawn this out and taken it back all the way to 2025, 2020, early 2026. We started to form this little support line here. And you can see that it's actually tapped it a number of different times and come back down here. So I'm projecting that Bitcoin's going to maybe take a little bit of a pause here, pull back, maybe have another little bit of a bounce, and then head down towards this bottom portion of this red channel here. But one of the things that's so interesting about Bitcoin is last night I was seeing WTI, it was actually up about 5% around midnight there, and Bitcoin was actually down a fairly decent amount as well. So you can see there's this little bit of a wick down on the channel here, so, or in the candle here. So that was really interesting. Bitcoin's telling us that, the market's probably going to end up a little bit lower today because I think Bitcoin is that leading indicator. Gold also telling us that, maybe this has topped out, and the relationship between gold and the S&P 500, these are definitely correlated assets right now. When the S&P 500 is going down, gold is going down. And then if gold is going down, then silver is also going down as well. So what is gold? What is the gold chart telling us right now? Well, you could see on Thursday, gold actually put in a topping tail right here. Also, the fact that, we're at the very top and the edge of this channel here. A topping tail, very not a great sign for gold holders. And I am a gold holder. I hold physical metal as well, but not a great sign. And then what you get on Friday is that confirmation where, it's abiding by not only this topping tail, but also abiding by the red channel that I have highlighted on the chart right here. And we've continued to abide by that as of right now. So a break up out of this red channel, not really even bullish because you have that topping tail. You would want to get that close above the topping tail, and then you could say, okay, we got a little bit of room to run up to 48.65, but this could also reverse right now and come back down to 43.59, and that's the price point that I'm actually watching right now. I could see it also having just a little bit of like a pause at 45.40, but this right here tells us that, okay, the S&P 500 is overstretched. Oil is on the rise. Gold is also setting up like it's about to decline, and they are very much correlated assets to the S&P 500 right now. So I'm watching that very closely. What's really interesting about the charts right now is I think we're getting a little bit of a fake out on the price of silver. Why is silver running 3% when the price of oil is also rising to a somewhat dramatic degree, like 5% overnight last night was pretty crazy, and we see a silver actually holding up here. This to me tells me that we're trying to shake out people who are thinking that the price is going higher, and we're running into that resistance point right here. We have major resistance at about 82.03 right here. We're trying to break above that right now, but even silver also has a topping tail right here. And this is a key level right here. This candle is telling us that, the top is in temporarily for silver. And over the next week, we're probably going to come back down to $71 here. If the price of silver closes above this topping tail, I'll get ever so slightly concerned, but I think that would probably result in the following day breaking back down below that. So right now we're seeing silver rise, and our inverse silver position is probably going to be in the negative today. But this to me is telling me that actually I think that we're just trying to shake out a few people who are bearish like I am right now. And I think this is going to end up resulting in coming back down over the next 2 days or so. So that is the update on the price of gold, silver, Bitcoin. That's all that we could see really right now. And you just got to watch that S&P 500. I think we're ready for a pullback right now. We're running into that resistance. The gold chart is set up like it's about to decline, and silver is also looking like it's still going to decline despite being positive a little bit here today. I think we're just trying to get that shakeout, and then maybe tomorrow we'll see the S&P 500 actually does take a little bit of a decline, and then silver will also come down with the S&P 500. There's not a chance that the S&P 500 is going to decline by 5.3%, and silver is just going to like rocket higher for some reason, and especially if gold also does decline as well. Listen, if the price of gold breaks through that key level, the channel that we were looking at there, then okay, we're going to have to make some kind of adjustment in our portfolio, because if gold is rising, then silver is also going to rise as well. But right now, I'm seeing in the charts, downward pressure is coming this week, and we got to be prepared for that. So thanks so much for watching. Join me over on Substack. The links are in the description down below. You can see my recent newsletter that I just put out over the weekend. You can see fully open how I am playing the downside in silver. And if you want to, take on this trade alongside me, you can go check out the links down below. Like I said, everything is open for all Substack subscribers, whether you're free or part of the paid tier. I've opened this trade up to all subscribers because we are doing incredibly well this year. My portfolio is up about 20 to 30% across a number of different accounts that I have right now. So it's pretty incredible. We are definitely outperforming the S&P 500, and I just wanted to say thanks to my subscribers who are following along with me and opening up that trade as a thank you there. So join me in the links down below. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Anthony, and we'll see you in the next one.